guys, this is Laura from Doggy U, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite foundational behaviors, the hand target or touch target. This is when your dog is going to boop your hand with their nose. Now, this is a widely used skill throughout my training programs. We can use it to start loose leash walking or come to heel. We can use it to teach bitey puppies to close their mouth and touch our hands instead of nibble at them. We can also use it to help us keep dogs from jumping up on us and get an excellent recall to our hand. So it has a lot of applications in this one little skill that you can probably teach in 1 to 2 training sessions. Now, because both of my dogs know hand targeting very well, I want to show you a video of the first time I taught this lovely little black lab Viru, little puppy, how to do hand targeting and the explanation for it, so you can see a dog that's never done it before learning this new skill. And then at the end of the video, after you've watched that little clip, we're going to go back and I'm going to show you a couple of quick applications for the use of the hand target and clarify some of the training bits. So stay tuned.
We're going to start working on targeting today, so hand targeting. We use hand targeting for teaching how to loose leash walk. We use it for a come to heel. And we also use it to teach the dog to close his mouth and touch our hand instead of bite our hand. And also for a recall so that they have a clear target that they're supposed to get to and they stop jumping up on you. So what we're going to do, 2 hands behind the back. 1 hand with nothing in it comes out. My fist is closed like this. Palm goes towards the dog, so my hand comes out. Second, his nose touches my hand, I click, and then a reward's produced. It doesn't really matter which hand the reward comes from. You need to put your hand close enough that it's easy for him to touch it. Now, I'm not saying anything yet. I'm just putting the hand out so that we're basically shaping this. So he's investigating my hand. I'm saying that's what I want. So I put my hand out, click and reward. Whoop, he missed the treat. Now I'm going to do it with the other hand. Other hand goes out. He touches it. I click, and I reward. And then what we can start doing is moving the hand around a little bit. So now my hand is going to be here. He goes and boops it. I reward. And that's exactly what we want, is that really enthusiastic boop of my hand. That's what we're looking for. Because eventually when we do this, it's going to be Viru, he touches my hand, he sits, he gets his reward. So that he's always thinking about being low and not jumping on us.
Alright guys, so you saw that video with Viru, and there's a couple of things that I didn't cover in that video that I'd like to go over. First is the hand target. You can use a closed hand target like I do in the video, or an open flat palm hand target. I have a lot of behaviors that are cued using a flat palm, so I chose to use a closed hand. Some people will also choose to use 2 fingers as their hand target so that they can differentiate for the dog what they're asking of them. The other thing to note is Viru caught on very quickly to being able to do the hand target. Most dogs, when you put your hand down, they're going to investigate it, and that's what you're going to click for. That's the moment you click. That being said, some dogs will not. So what you need to do is shape the behavior. So what you can start doing is putting your hand out. The dog looks at your hand, you click and reward that. Comes slightly closer, you click and reward that. You're just shaping closer and closer to that hand target, just like you can shape a closed mouth, or you can shape a hand target that is harder just by selection. So that's how you would shape that behavior. Another thing that's important to note is that you want to look at the hand, not at the dog. If you look at the dog, they will tend to look back at you, and you want to look where you want the dog to be, which is at your hand. So you're going to look at your hand and ask for the target. So now if I wanted Jake to do a hand target, I'm going to look at my hand, touch. Good. He touches my hand, I click and reward. Doesn't matter which hand I'm rewarding from, it could be the left or the right, doesn't really matter. So touch. Beautiful. Once your dog has a solid understanding of the basic hand touch right in front of his nose, incrementally hold your hand further from your dog, increasing distance by an inch or 2 each time. Once your dog will come a foot away to touch your hand, start changing the location of your hand in relation to the dog. Once the dog will touch your hand anywhere, start asking for multiple hand touches, starting with a touch on one hand, then the other, before clicking and rewarding. This would be the time to also add the cue. I'll link the video on adding a cue below so that you know how to do that systematically. If the dog doesn't touch your hand within a second or 2 of you offering the hand as the cue, simply take your hand away, wait a moment, and re-offer it to the dog. You may be moving too fast. If your dog is choosing not to touch your hand a couple times in a row, go back to right in front of his nose to make it easier for them. Also, make sure that you're not booping your dog's nose. Make sure that his nose is coming all the way to your hand. So now I want to show you how you can use this hand target. You can use it to transport your dog. That means to bring him from one place to the other without having to use a collar or a leash or anything like that. So if I want Jake, good. Just gonna reward Whip right here for being such a good girl. If I want to move him across the room, I can have him touch, touch, and move him across that way. If I need him to go a specific place, I can ask him to come over here and basically move my dog around just by using my hand touch, not needing any leash or anything like that. The other thing I could do with it is a come to heel, and I'm going to do a video on the dancy move that I'm about to do, but essentially you're thinking you can put your dog in heel position with your hand. So you can do a touch in the back, a touch in the front, dog is in heel position. Now he's curved out a little bit there, so if I were doing this and wanting to get like a nice tighter heel position, I'd actually do it against the wall, touch in the back, touch in the front, and make sure that he gets nice and straight and lined up with me. You can also use it as a recall. If you've watched my recall video, you know that I think it's really important for your dog to recall to hand and not be ambiguous about what you want. So if I call my dog to me, I'm going to say, Jake, come, put a hand. He touches my hand, I click, and I reward. Okay, so again, that's Jake, come. Touches my hand, he knows exactly where to be. Also with young puppies, this can help them learn to touch your hand instead of bite, and you can also teach them to come in low and not jump up towards you. So if you're always giving them these low hand touches when they come at you, you can eliminate jumping. It's also a useful skill for loose leash walking. I can teach my dog that I want him to stay in line with me and have him do multiple touches in a row. Now, I'm a little bit out of space here, but I can have him touch, change my direction, touch, and reward that. So here you can see how I start working with the loose leash walking. I have him come to heel, and then I'm just asking for one hand touch, click and reward, one hand touch, click and reward to keep him in position. Then I can use multiple hand touches, which is super useful if there's a distraction. Okay, so loose leash walking, it works well for that. As well as a way to get my dog engaged, say he sees something interesting, I want to give him an active activity to engage with me, so I can have him boop here, touch here, make it super fun. I can even use it as like an activation game to get them excited. You jump up to it. No, I also use my touch target. That was a late click. I also use my touch target to teach my dog actually to jump for when we were doing our jump roping trick. So when we started doing jump roping, that's actually a trick I started with a really high hand touch that I rewarded for. So there's lots of things you can move on to. The hand touch is just a foundation skill that you can teach your dog as a fun way to start off of their training, but also progress to a bunch of different useful obedience behaviors, as well as a bunch of tricks once your dog understands a nose target. You can even transfer it to being able to close a door, a fridge. I have a full video on that that I'll link below, but using that nose to do a target can be a very useful behavior. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We put out new videos every week. If you have questions, comment below. I answer all of my questions. If you haven't noticed, Jake has been learning. I've been capturing a sneeze, so he's been offering me a sneeze quite a bit. Anyway, you guys have an awesome day and happy training.
Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next video. Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thank you.